Do you know, I can live in a world where political correctness reigns and we're micromanaged to the nth degree. I don't like it, but I actually can live in it. I can handle being told how I'm to drive to the last kilometre on every corner of every road in Australia. I don't really like it, but I can handle it. I can handle being told how to build my house by young people who don't really know. I don't like it, but I can handle it. I can handle being told how I'm to think on different lifestyle issues and things in our society. Again, I don't like it, but I can handle it. But I can't handle when the intrusion invades the last bastion of freedom that I possess, which is the control over my own body. We have attacks that are led by academics and scientists that call themselves the friends of science in medicine. It's the great enigma, the scientific position that has no science. Unbelievable. The science and the experiences are actually on our side, but the propaganda is against us. The power of the dollar has negated all moral responsibility. The majority of the public are victims of a propaganda campaign that permeates all the mediums that are coming to their senses. That's the TV, the movies, the internet, and the most respected people in our society. It's for this reason that I decided to start a political party to address the neglected, to get political representation to the hundreds of thousands of Australians who are currently experiencing distress and fear due to their choice to bring up their children in a chemical-free environment. I actually did it in the 1980s and the 1990s, and I had the full freedom to do it. As a result, we raised children that were of above average health. We drank fluoride-free water, we ate good food, we rejected pharmaceutical treatment for ailments and sickness, and we produced some very healthy children. But I could see that this generation was not going to have the freedom that I did for their children and their families. I also saw that we were developed into a mob rule where the pack descends from the outside, descends on those that are outside the prescribed way of thinking. And violent action, vilification against them is completely sanctioned by media and by government. What a frightening state of affairs that I was developing in Australia. Unbelievable. I was deeply alarmed and I felt a moral responsibility to do something about this massive inequity in fairness. Now, of course, some would say, well, the situation is not frightening to them. No. And that's true if you're willing to comply 100% with the political thinking of the day, because this is a political issue. Believe me, it's a political issue. And I'm sure that the Jews, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the homosexuals that did not feel very safe in the 1930s in Germany when the political opinion was against them. These groups, they were to experience the full power of a propaganda machine that marginalised them, lied about them, vilified them, and cemented in the minds of their fellow citizens, these are their neighbours, that somehow they were the cause of the problems that they were having in society. Unbelievable. We look back in horror and disgust on this time, and the whole thing is happening right amongst us. But the majority don't see it because it's not affecting them. The road has not been easy. There's some very horrible people out there, and I can only conclude that they have no moral compass whatsoever. I'm astounded at some of the filthy language and the threats that come from the proponents of compulsory vaccination. They tell you they'd like to kill you in the quest to supposedly save my children. That's nice. And this includes politicians. And mostly the media, and some of the medical establishment that have actually sold their souls for pharmaceutical money, likes of Terry Nolan. There is an almost frenzy in the media at the moment, and the word anti-vax, and I find this interesting, it's V-A-X-X, like the XX. It sort of says something, even that has a sinister connotation, these anti-vax, like spew it out. These horrible people. That conjures up images of some diabolical human beings that threaten the safety and well-being of our pharmaceutically saturated society. Every outbreak of even the most minor ailment sets off a frenzy to secure even more injections and condemnations. And that's why I started the party, friends. I'm extremely grateful to be part of a movement of brave people who are not willing to conform to the politically correct mantras of the day, which rely on threats and fear to get their way. But never do they rely on good science, never do they give unbiased reportings, and never do they use common sense. So I urge you to help us. I urge those out there watching today to help us. We need to get this word out. We've spent tens of thousands of dollars which we don't have on marketing and advertising. We're a small group. We're political virgins. Please, and I urge you to dig deep. Donate to the cause. It's down to the wire. The first date voting commences any day now. And the more we have, the more we can use to get out this message. You've seen one of our ads. We've got more. And we're putting out printed stuff. We've got other internet advertising. This doesn't come cheap, even though we have an army of some wonderful volunteers helping. And more importantly, vote for us. Vote one, the Involuntary Medication Objectors Party, at this next election in the Senate and in the House of Reps if you happen to be in North New South Wales. We have to show these heartless, soulless leaders that we are just not a few to be trodden down underfoot as if we don't exist and have no rights whatsoever. We are Australians and we're aiming for Canberra. We want to get there, and with your help we can do it. So spread the word, spread your messages, get your friends to vote. Vote, vote. One for the Involuntary Medication Objectors Party this election. And let's take our message down there and fight for the rights of you and all other Australians. Thank you.